You were saying?
Welcome to the couch where your mental health matters. I'm your host, Dame Dash. As always, I got my co-host in the building, Miss Jackie, aka Juicy J. We're gonna put Damion and Jackie on the show.
I want a shirt that says Juicy J.
Juicy J. All my people that make t-shirts, I make them as well. But anybody that
can somebody make me a shirt?
And we'll definitely shout you out on the couch on our show.
Yeah, I need a t-shirt that says Juicy J. If there's anybody watching who knows a t-shirt maker, a good t-shirt maker.
She wanted bedazzled and all that stuff.
No, I don't need it bedazzled. I think Juicy J says enough. I want it all black with white letters.
Okay.
Okay, I want it all black with the white letters that say Juicy J. And I want the juicy to be large.
And in charge.
Yes, large enough for everyone to see it. I will wear that shit everywhere.
Juicy J.
I will. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So again, like I was saying, you guys, today we're talking about childhood trauma and how it affects us as adults. And we do have our special guest author, Miss Bri Lynette. She's in the building, so we'll have her on shortly in the next 20-25 minutes or so. And we're going to sit down and talk with her, ask her some questions. I want you guys to really interact with this particular episode because it's going to be fun, exciting, and very informative, like it is always on the couch, right? Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and get this thing cracking. Well, before we do that, let's check in with each other.
Okay.
Where are you at today, Jackie? 1 to 10.
I had a shitty day. So okay. I've been dying to say that.
You there?
Every day isn't a great day. Okay?
Yeah.
Let's not pretend like it is. So today was my mood was less than stellar.
Right.
And so I made my way through the day effectively and efficiently. However, I was steadily trying to check myself to get my thoughts together.
Right.
So I would say before I walked on the door, I was at a 5.
Okay.
Now I'm about a 7.5, 8.
Yeah.
But that's because of the company I keep. And because I love what I do.
Yeah, so absolutely.
There's that.
That's what's up. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad it jumped up.
It did.
After maybe 15
If it starts going down when I come in here, we need to reevaluate this whole situation.
I'm going to be like, we're going to have a conversation. Come on, let's have a seat.
Yeah, we would have to have a serious conversation, but that's not what occurred. No, I feel better now that I'm here.
Okay. No. Well, I mean, right now I'm probably at a 10. 9. I'll say 9. 9.
I'm trying to be where you at.
I mean, it's a great day. Love is in the air.
Love is in the air.
No. Let me clarify. Let me clarify that.
Okay.
Newborn baby, my sister, family, things like that. I love everyone. Of course, I love you guys. I love my couch family. You guys hold me down, hold us down every week. Mm-hmm. I love you guys. It's that agape love. Look that up.
That godly love. I know what that is. That's in the. I know. That's God's love. That's in the Bible.
Yeah. Well, that's what kind of love I'm giving to you guys. And not the eros, not that. Okay. Not the romantic, seductive. LL
Not today. Damion over here.
Not that one. But more of the agape. I love everyone.
Oh my God.
So again, I'm feeling good. Everybody's good. Everybody's healthy. Everybody's is here because we didn't have to wake up this morning. But the fact that we're here, that actually takes me to a 7 already. Just waking up, I'm good.
Okay.
We're in the building. All right. So I didn't necessarily have a trending topic. Every week we have a mental health trending topic of the week, which is normally sponsored by resident Wendy Williams, Miss Jaqueline Curry over here.
Jaqueline.
But I don't know. Do you have a trending topic? I didn't.
Honestly, I thought this topic was so important. I didn't think to come up with a trending topic. No, I just wanted to get into it.
Okay. Well, that's what we're going to do, you guys. We're going to get into this thing, childhood trauma and how it affects us as adults. All right. So my first things first, I wanted to kind of define trauma because a lot of people oftentimes don't realize they experience trauma until you kind of give them some examples or some situations that could be considered traumatic. So let's define what childhood trauma may look like.
Okay.
You got some?
No.
You're a therapist. You're supposed to know.
Well, I knew that you would have a written definition, which would sound better than anything I could come
I
up with.
don't have a written definition of what examples. I had examples of childhood trauma.
I would say my definition off the top of my head of childhood trauma is any significant event experienced in childhood which interferes with the current psychological state of mind or functioning.
I'm looking at her, you guys, like, she just looked on Google just now, and she just...
but didn't that sound...
Yeah, it sounded like a definition just now.
Thank you. I attended school for a lot of years.
Yeah,
so I would say, a lot of years. So I would say any event experienced in childhood which affects psychological functioning or daily... what is it called? Daily
functioning.
Daily functioning in any of the areas of
your life.
Yeah, but life domains.
Yeah, domains. I like that.
Thank you,
That's
counselor.
A little bit better.
Okay, so any event experienced in childhood which directly affects and intercedes on any of the life domains currently.
Yeah, boom. That's a great definition. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Webster. Yeah.
Emmanuel Webster.
So just some quick examples of possible trauma would include abuse of any sort, physical, emotional, sexual, psychological, neglect could also be considered traumatic. Any family violence, whether that's domestic violence, any type of home environment violence will be considered domestic. Witnessing those types of things as well as being a victim of those types of violent behaviors could also be traumatic as well. Any other type of violence, whether that's in the school, if you experience a school shooting, witness a school shooting, seeing somebody die, get burned up, your house get caught in a house fire, that could be traumatic as well.
Did you know that I had lived through 2 house fires?
So that may be one of the reasons.
Well, that's one reason I don't like being around people that flick lighters. I don't like that. I can't take it in public places or anywhere else. And then I have a keen sense of smell for smoke.
Okay.
So when I'm in buildings or whatnot, I mean, I can smell what type of smoke it is, whether it's cigarette, gas, just a lit fire. I can tell the difference between gas and lit fire. But yeah, I have survived being in a burning house twice in my life.
We're going to dig into that.
Okay.
Just a minute.
Many people don't know that, but...
Yeah, we definitely going to talk about that. But also, if you've experienced a death of a loss of a loved one, someone that's close to you, whether that's a parent, a close friend, or a relative, if they've died when you were younger, especially in that early stages, whether that's like 2 to 5. Especially if you lost a parent early on, that definitely affects you, and that's also traumatic. That could be traumatic for anyone, let alone a child. But also like natural disasters, being in a war zone, being a refugee.
Yes, that could be traumatic.
Being forced to be displaced from your home living environment. And another one that we don't consider as being traumatic, but is discrimination.
I thought you were going to say spankings. She'll say, don't you dare.
Some people like the spanking. That's not traumatic.
Our community.
We got some floggers and some paddlers.
Some people like that.
Yeah. So it may not necessarily be traumatic. So if y'all like, spankings as an adult, that might be...
That's a whole nother show.
We're going to touch on
we're going to do that on another show, right?
And we might bring some...
we're going to bring somebody on to
some guests to do some demonstrations. And we're going to be live. And we're going to do some demonstrations and watch Jackie get flogged or handcuffed or something.
Don't do that.
Yes. I think that'll be pretty good.
No, I don't think they want to see me get handcuffed. Oh my God, I can't.
Who wants to see Jackie get handcuffed and blindfold you guys? That would be an awesome experience.
Can y'all even imagine me getting handcuffed and blindfolded on the show?
Handcuffed. I mean...
Can y'all imagine me getting handcuffed and blindfolded on this show? I can't take it. I feel like
y'all imagine,
half our viewers would be living out their fantasies.
Oh man, we would have like 200 viewers right now if Jackie was
if we announced that I was going to be
oh my gosh,
handcuffed and blindfolded on the show.
Yes,
thank you. Moving right along.
I think we need to do that.
No.
So We also, again, those are just some types. So if you experience any of those types, and there are many more, but we're not going to go down the list. You can use your Google and pull it up yourself.
Use your Google.
Use your Google on your phone. Use it for anything else. But also, let's kind of dive into how does childhood trauma affect adults in relationships. Let's go there.
Okay.
Because we all have experienced some type of trauma, and we are all in some type of relationship.
Okay, I know how my trauma has affected me in relationships, and I find that the more I talk about this, the more friends of mine empathize with what I'm talking about. Right. So my childhood trauma is emotional. Okay. And it's not anything that somebody did to me. Mm-hmm. It's more a lack of, children are not really able to articulate what their needs are. Right? And so my needs as a child consisted of emotional pulling. I was pulling from people emotionally, and the people I was pulling from, I wasn't getting what I needed from. Right. So as an adult, it has caused me to move faster in relationships. Okay? Because when I tended to find someone who met the emotional need, I was quicker to attach. And then not want to detach.
Even if they wanted to, Jackie, leave me alone. Yeah,
no, that's not true. First of all,
I'm not going. I'm going to stay.
You know exactly what I mean.
I'm going to stay. What's the song?
That's not true.
Jennifer Hudson?
That's not true. I don't know, and I'm gonna act like I don't know. But what I'm saying is that for
you.
For the sake of explanation, I am saying, counselor, that when you are lacking, when your emotional boat is not filled as a child, then you tend to attach quicker to individuals in relationships. So if you came along, if I had a father or a mother who is not showing me the love that I wanted to see, and then there's a man that comes along and he's like, look, I'm going to be this for you, I'm going to be that for you, that becomes very seductive to women who have been lacking in childhood with emotional filling, right? And so I'm more prone to latch onto you, and then we become Velcro. You know how Velcro works? It attaches, and then it's hard to pull off. So then the woman becomes like this, and the man is complaining. She's so clingy. She wants to be near me all the time. Listen, you have to know the history of who you're dealing with. Right. That's a whole nother show. But you have to know the history and the childhood issues of the person that you're dating and dealing with, so that you can understand when their behavior starts, why they're doing it. Exactly. It's not because they're crazy or they just need you, but it's that they're more encouraged and influenced to attach to you when they are lacking the attachments that they were searching for in childhood.
Hey,
it's a whole word.
That situation reminds me of so many people.
See, people. I don't understand why this is an unspoken thing. Why are we acting like we don't understand? Why are men acting like, they go on a few dates with a woman and they do certain things for them that the woman is supposed to push away or put this barrier up. No, they're starting to let the barrier down, and then they want to be around you more and spend more time around you. But the man, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna generalize this. Men are so quick to be like, she's fucking trapping. I can't get her away from me. I just want to. It's so annoying.
But it could be reversed. It could be on the flip side where the guy just wants to do because he didn't receive, so now he wants to overexert himself in your life, and he becomes overbearing. And I want to do this, and I want to do this, and let's spend.
What did Martin Lawrence say?
Each and every minute.
Do your ass away from here, motherfucker. Can't you go to the zoo or something?
Yes, absolutely. So
some men want to be all up under their work.
It works both ways. It definitely works both ways when we experience trauma. We guys, when I say we, I'm talking about guys. We don't know that we've experienced trauma.
Well, I'm sorry.
Until we kind of know.
Some of a man's trauma. I cut you off twice. Sorry.
Yeah, you did. Thank you.
I did. I'm sorry.
I appreciate that, Jackie. I appreciate it so much.
I feel like it should be looked at as trauma that men are encouraged not to express their emotions. Okay, that's like a reverse trauma. That's another form of trauma, right? Forcing you all to be quiet, not to say anything, and then you turn into grown men who can't freaking communicate. Grown men that can't communicate because you're encouraged to stifle yourselves and be a man and keep stuff within. You can't show vulnerability in relationships. You can't express yourself. You shut down completely. And we can't even get a Morse code note
Right.
That
because again, like I've always said on so many of our episodes where I say that we've pretty much cut off at least 2 of those main 4 emotions. We've cut off the fear part and the sadness part,
so y'all are
and we're only left with happiness and anger. So you're gonna get those 2. You won't get the tears. You won't get.
He's happy. He's angry. He's happy.
That's
he's
it.
Angry.
You don't get the I'm fearful of this or the anxiety part. It just comes out as anger or happiness, whichever one. Pick your poison. If we happy all the time, then something's wrong with you. If we angry,
and you know it, clap your hands.
So again, another one,
yes.
which is really big, is poor self-esteem or low self-esteem when you experience trauma.
It's true.
Whether that's emotional trauma, physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional, physical, all those things can result into low self-esteem, and you think low of yourself, so you don't feel like you have a lot of value to bring into a relationship. So you end up being with these guys or these women that take advantage of you, and you feel like you don't have a voice in those relationships.
I was like that in college, but that was a result of the emotional needs not being met. Look, I went to college, y'all. I went to college and thought I was there to get a boyfriend. Thought I was going to get a boyfriend. And so, listen. I like this dude. Listen, I spent time with this dude. I like this dude. Mm-hmm. And it took me months to get that, no dudes in college really wanted a girlfriend, especially now freshman year. And, I had to listen to a lot of talking, a lot of my friends talking about how, they just didn't think that we were on the same page. And I'm like, no, he likes me. Then I found out at some point, I was shattered when I found out the guy that I liked was seeing someone else.
Right.
And I'm like, is this how it works in college? But I was super naive and then attached to the likedness and then the time spending.
Right.
The quality time I thought was an indicator that this was your boyfriend. And it was not. It was not. So
he was spending time, all right.
He was spending time everywhere.
Yeah, it's 24 hours in a day. He was spreading it out.
Literally. I'm just saying, that's an example. Yeah. I'm not afraid to say, it is my truth. Right. But a lot of girls I know lived that truth. I had a lot of friends who thought that they were in relationships when they first came to college, met a cute dude that they spent a lot of time with. Right. And really, there were certain things we were searching for. Yeah. And we happened upon them. We used that. It was like a fixation with it. The affection.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Besides, I cut my hair and people was calling me Halle Berry all the time. So I was, I thought I was cute. They were like, oh.
All right, Jackie. What happened to the old shows like that? What happened to the good shows, people?
Hey, Sean.
What happened to them?
I don't know, but
what happened to
anyway.
all the good shows? Hey, Jackie do look good for her age nowadays, for real. Off topic.
Okay.
She does.
Just call me Jackie.
What they call MILFs? MILFs? Is that right?
I think so.
Shaq, I know you online.
I used to have a friend that called me Jackie growing up.
Really?
Yeah. His name was Sean. Sean Fleming used to call me Jackie.
Oh my goodness.
When 227 was on.
Wow.
I used to love that nickname. But anyway, I digress.
Yes. So, again, those are just some examples of one trauma and just some of the small examples of how it could be shown in relationships. And that's if you don't resolve them.
What about abuse?
What about it?
Why don't you speak on that? How abuse can surface in relationships, childhood abuse can surface in current relationships.
Abuse, and especially when you're talking about emotional and physical, you get what's called that battered women syndrome. You actually become attached to that dysfunction of being abused. It's like that's your way of feeling love in relationships. So when you experience those women that actually like the drama and they like to be snatched up on or beat up on, they actually love you a little bit more because you do those things.
Do some women like to be snatched up on and beat up on?
Some of them do. I don't personally know them have been involved with any.
They're not gonna say
like that, but it's one of those things to where, and y'all tell me if I'm wrong.
They're
y'all
very quiet. Everybody's very quiet today.
Everybody listen. Y'all waiting for Bri. Y'all waiting for Miss Bri to come on because y'all want to hear us. I appreciate y'all for sure, but When you experience abuse like that, you tend to fall into that dysfunction, and that's just how you see love as being, because you either witnessed it or been a part of it as a child. So if that's all you saw throughout your lifetime, you're going to get in relationships that's going to resemble what you've experienced as a child.
And then I was going to say, just add on to that, the fighting. You know what I'm saying? Like if you grow up in a house where adults are arguing, yelling all the time, it seems more normal. Like with anything else that you experience in your childhood, whatever is normalized in your childhood becomes your normal for adulthood.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
You get with somebody like, yo, like why are you screaming? Why are you yelling all the time? Why does it have to be some type of drama like every week? Every week you can't be on your cycle. Like it's just not one of those things.
He said every week, hey Ryan, every week you can't be on your cycle, girls.
You just can't. Like after a while.
Can I say something? Let me say something. No,
it starts out being cute. Oh, she's feisty.
Wait.
After the first couple
lift
weeks,
up my feet.
she's feisty. She's feisty when you first started in a relationship, but after about 2 months, and it's like every day, it's just always something. And she ready to pop off. It gets aggravating, irritating, and no, I don't want to be around you. Just don't.
Let me talk to the women. So y'all.
Oh Lord, we about to get this monologue.
What we feel, I'm gonna speak for the women. What we feel is men have a period.
Okay.
I want y'all to say something. Men have a period. 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 Okay. Now we don't learn about it in school, but men are sometimes on their period where they're a little snappy, a little hostile. You can call it what you want. We feel like lack of communication. You withdraw. You're moody. There's a shift. You don't want to talk about it. The next 30 minutes, hour or so, you want to have sex. Then you want to go back to feeling like shit. I mean, or treating us like you don't want to talk about your issue. And we feel that's when girls get on the phone and say, I think he's on his period. Isn't he bouncing back and forth again? Isn't he always on his period?
Well, I mean, that's we're actually communicating, but we don't know how to effectively express that. We could be thinking about something.
That doesn't make it okay.
It doesn't. You're absolutely right.
That's all I'm saying.
But what I'm saying is that we're communicating without communicating, and sometimes when we do experience those moody episodes, it's because we're thinking about something and we just don't either want to bring it to you, or maybe something outside the relationship that you don't have any control over that you can't fix. So we figure, okay, if you can't fix it or help me figure it out, then why bring it up? So we're still kind of attached to you in a sense of like, okay, we're pissed off, but at the same time, we still love you. We still find you attractive. We still want to have sex with you. So we can be pissed off and still go have sex with you.
Listen,
in that moment, we can be in that moment.
If you're pissed off with me, don't be coming over here to have sex with me.
Oh yeah,
because I don't want to be the.
Yeah,
I don't want to be the sounding board for your aggression, your anger.
It goes like, yeah. When I'm angry, it's totally connected. Like
somebody else said that.
Both heads are connected. I mean, that's just real.
Somebody told me that when men get angry, they lose their drive to want to have sex.
Now, some guys, I mean, they take that anger out on their partner, so they actually get turned on.
I don't want that anger taken out on my boss.
No, don't kill the box, guys. Don't kill the box. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing, you guys. Okay.
A lot of people are like what? Like that they take anger out on like the person they're having sex with?
Mm-hmm. They take the anger out. So they're frustrated about something. They had a really tough day. They just want to just get it out. I want to release this anger, and I want to release it in a great way.
Women can feel that, right? We can tell. Sometimes it makes a woman look at you different, like feel used, kind of.
If you're connected in that sense, you can definitely tell that it's more so that like you're not here. You're just performing this act, but you're thinking somewhere else, and you're just taking it out on that other person.
Maybe it's the sound of the clapping that got you just.
Did I wake y'all up?
I can't wait to watch the playback, my response, because I feel like I was like.
So,
but anyway,
so definitely, you guys, like I said at the beginning, we got Miss Bri Lynette in the building. She authored, They Told Me to Love My Abuser. So we're going to have her on in our next segment. So I want you guys to stay tuned. We'll be back in about 2 to 3 minutes. We're going to get her in here, get her set up. So make sure you guys look out for the notifications when we go back live. We'll be back. be right back. That's the thing with being live. This is
We'll be right back.
We'll be right back, you guys. All right? Peace. Part 2, we back in the building, you guys. I told you we'll be right back. We're just waiting for people to come on in here, but they'll be in here shortly. So again, you guys, like I said at the beginning of the show, we're gonna have author Miss Bri Lynette in the building. You know, we're definitely gonna be talking about her book, or letter to the book, and we got some questions. We want y'all to ask some questions as well. This is very impromptu, so she doesn't know what the questions are.
I know.
Our guests never know what the questions are, so that's normal.
Know. Yeah, it's very normal, and we kind of keep it loose, and make sure that
keep it loose.
Yeah,
that's a great day.
Keep it loose.
Well, why, Jackie? Why you want to show out in front of company?
You always give the innuendos.
You want to show out in front of company?
You
right
lay it
now.
all out for me.
Nothing.
Oh. All right.
Anyway.
We are here. Let's start.
Okay.
So make sure you go ahead and like and share this, you guys. Make sure you share it on your timelines, on your feeds, Instagram. I don't know how to share it on Instagram, but
hey, Celine.
we was just talking about that. I don't know how to do it. I just go live. Hopefully you see it. It'll be up for 24 hours. After that, sorry, you have to go to the website and you'll see it then. All right.
So we're pressed for time.
We are, kind of, but we're not going to rush this couch love that we got going on.
You don't have to be
right
on
now.
here by a certain time.
We can't.
We don't need to be?
This love, yes, we do have to be
Okay,
on
I'm
here
just
by a
helping.
certain time.
Alrighty.
Timekeeper. Thank you much. That's not true. You just showing up.
I want to hear about our guests
Yes.
and everything.
So, go ahead. That's a great segue. So, Miss Bri Lynette, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
On the couch with your mental health matters. See, she likes to cut me off.
Dave is like a computer. He's a robot. But, we're happy to have you here. And we want to hear about your book.
So, before we get to the book, just tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you to the point of wanting to write a book.
So it's funny, this was all by accident.
Okay.
I actually ended up going to therapy in college because I was going through something with a boyfriend. And looking back on it, it's funny, why would you go to therapy for someone who's not your husband? But we went to therapy and I thought we were having issues and the therapist was like, hold on, wait a minute. Let's talk about you for a moment.
Right.
And she started me asking questions about my childhood. And then that's when I started realizing the connections between the two. And she's like, what I want you to do is I want you to start journaling. And I was like, I don't want to journal. No one wants to remember negative times. No one wants to remember physical and emotional abuse. And she was like, I think it'll help you. And at the time, I thought it was crazy. When I moved to Charlotte in 2014, I just so happened to find that journal. And I started reading through it. And something kept telling me, you need to get this out. This is going to be a part of your healing. So that's what made me actually write the book.
So yours started with journaling, therapy, and then journaling.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So journaling was a technique that your good therapist recommended.
Yes, absolutely. Shout out
for
to
all
that
my
therapist.
clients.
Yes.
Who aren't doing the shit I told you to do. No, I'm just kidding. We're thinking it. Okay.
Seriously.
It works.
Yeah, it works. Yeah. Okay, it helps you to track your thoughts.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And
absolutely.
to remember things.
I think I got like this month. I think I got like a book. Like seriously.
Have you written things down?
Over this past 6 months, yeah.
We know you like to document the outlines for every week.
But that has absolutely nothing to do with me. I'm talking about
getting your thoughts out.
Me at this point.
Alrighty.
And we're talking about Bri.
It all ties in. So, okay. So I don't think that it's crazy to go to therapy for somebody that's not your husband. Whenever something is not going right in your life, or if it's repetitive or significant enough to interfere with any kind of daily functioning, it's necessary to stop, go to therapy, regroup, and find out why it's happening.
I agree, but we were in couples therapy, and it should have been just
you were in couples
therapy.
The intent was couples therapy together. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And although we both realized we had things to work on, so it ended up being positive in the end. We both got therapy we needed. But I felt like it really should have just been for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's why I hesitate to see couples.
Yeah, like I often tell if I get a couple in like off the gate, I'll tell them like, have y'all tried individual therapy first? to kind of work on yourself before coming in together. So that's a prerequisite for me. If you haven't done individual therapy prior to coming to see me for couples or marriage counseling, I'm not gonna see you. Sorry, that's just one of my things, because you end up having to go through individual timelines anyway.
But you know what you also find out? You find out which partner is open to their own healing and growth and which partner is not. Because there are plenty of y'all out there, whether it's male or female, one of your partners brings to the table, we need to go to therapy, and you all will be quick to say, I don't need therapy.
You're the one with the problem. Yeah,
you have the problem. So I feel like that's a red flag. Right. That should be a red flag for most people in a relationship situation who's not willing to go the extra mile to find out their own stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I can't stand to hear that.
So understanding that you wrote a book about your upbringing.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that for our viewers and for our couch family, and you're part of the family now. So we all talk about our stuff. So what was like your experience as a child that led you to kind of dig those bones up a little bit, as you would say?
Absolutely. I feel like I definitely didn't have a normal childhood experience. There was no love in the home. And that is between parent and child and between both parents. I've never seen my parents kiss. I've never seen them hug. It's just been abusive. So my dad was physically, emotionally, and mentally abusive to me, my mother, and my brother. But my mother never left. They're still married to this day. And at some point, you start realizing as you get older that your life isn't normal. When you start talking to your friends at school and they get to say all the things they get to do, the birthday parties, you start getting picked on because you can't do the things other kids can do. Something as simple as calling my friend because I was out sick and I need the homework. You're not allowed to have friends. You're not allowed to talk to people on the phone. I'm your only friend. Very manipulative. If I'm crying, you're not allowed to cry.
That's controlled.
That's immediately a whooping. Like, why are you crying? I don't care what you've gone through.
Right.
A lot of the abuse were threats, but I've seen my dad beat my mother. So it's not like they were empty threats. Right. But he constantly would threaten us to keep us in line because you never know when he's going to act on a threat.
Right.
And so immediately you always have anxiety. To the point one day I went to the doctor, my resting heart rate was like 108, and they was like, did you just run? I was like, no, I've just been sitting here, but I was so anxious I couldn't calm down, which caused me to sweat a lot. It was control. Like, I couldn't go to my prom. I couldn't date. My first date wasn't until the summer before college. So I had a delayed start in life where everyone else had these experiences. I didn't experience it till college. So people look at me like, you should have already known that by now. And they would have low patience and tolerance for me. It's like, well, I didn't have the chance to grow up the way you did.
So was it hard to maintain and keep good friendships in college?
And now,
no, I'm going somewhere with that.
Yes.
So it leads to a follow-up. I got a follow-up question to that. So yes, it was. Yes. So I want to say that I didn't have the same experience with not seeing the love in the home. However, I did have the same experience with the sheltered nature of dating. Okay, so I get it, and I wilded out a little bit when I first got to college.
I didn't.
Okay, but I did. It either goes one way or the other. Yeah. Shut up, Dame. Dame was like, oh, you did. Like, what I mean by wild out is I was interested in trying different experiences. If somebody drove by on a motorcycle and then he stopped, I wanted to get on the back of the motorcycle. I wild out in that way. So I was interested then in every new experience that was unlike anything that I could ever do or not do when I was in the home.
Right. And
so my prom, if there was a slit in the dress, it was like, no, you can't wear that. You can't. I mean, it was controlled. Okay, and I'm not talking about like a slit up here. I'm talking about like to my knee. So I feel like now at this age, I look at it as my parents were controlling, loving, but very controlling with me and my dating situation. But I realized it was my mother's own childhood trauma, and she tried to lock me out of that. So her thing is, if I was taken advantage of by people at people's homes or anywhere else, I will never allow her to be in that situation.
Exactly.
So her controlling stuff came from her trauma.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say I empathize with that. Yeah. I went to college. I just spoke about it before you came in, and I was like, oh, everybody that's sweet to me wants to be my boyfriend. Listen. So you know what I'm saying? Because you don't have the excuse us for a moment, we're having a moment. So we didn't have the affection, right? So then we crave it.
It's like little things. You try so hard not to be that, though, right? Yeah.
And as soon as someone does something that's very basic, something they should be doing, they could hold
you get excited.
You get excited, and you think, oh,
that's my husband.
They must love me. This is what love feels like.
Yeah.
It's not love. It was basic. They're just being friendly. It doesn't mean anything.
Girl, some of us are still learning that. Some of y'all women are.
So how does it like affect your relationships now?
Luckily, I can say I don't project because I realize every guy's not like that.
Right.
I realized I had an issue when I was being triggered a lot. So it's normal for people can get in arguments, and some people can say something out of anger and they don't really mean it. Right. I don't understand how to do that. I don't do that. Or some people can start cussing at their spouse, and it's normal for them. Well, even though I'm kind of desensitized to it because I grew up that way, that's not normal for me. I don't want you cussing at me. So someone could brush it off. I'm going to get really irate if you start cussing at me. If you raise your voice at me. Right. It got to the point I would be dismissive. So if I felt like you were a mean person, you were being mean to me, I'll immediately dismiss you. There's nothing to talk about. You don't need to apologize.
I think that's okay.
But here's the thing. I never learned conflict resolution.
Okay.
I was shown fighting, and I knew that was wrong. Right. But I didn't know how to fix it. You can't dismiss everyone in your life. You can't meet people. You never know where you're gonna have to come back to that person.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. You know, it was a question that you had.
A follow-up question?
No, it was a question that you said earlier that you wanted to ask her. But it'll come. It was actually right here, but it kind of left once you got into your monologue.
This is good. So one, we appreciate you sharing that because a lot of us have been through traumas, and a lot of us who are not trained in the field of psychology and psychoanalysis have not even begun to dig up our stuff yet. And then we have the other population of people who haven't been to therapy yet. I really recommend people go to therapy before you start living with someone for sure, and before you marry someone. To find out what your real issues are that haven't surfaced yet even, and how to cope with those and live with someone through those things. But I would say that I appreciate, your vulnerability with sharing that. Like I said, I don't have the same situation, but I do understand attaching myself to people who I had designed in my head to be these wonderful, here for my life type people. And I found out in college, everybody doesn't intend to be a part of your life to last.
Forever.
And some people will just take what you can give them. And I learned that a very hard way, and it was very sad for a little Jackie in college. It was. My feelings were hurt often.
It's sad because when I finally kind of started opening up to people actually manipulate you when they realize that you have childhood trauma, you have daddy issues. So they'll realize that, and someone cling on to that, and they'll be like, well, she doesn't know anything better. She'll be happy with this little bit that I'm giving her because her dad didn't do that for her. So it wasn't until I really started loving myself and catching on, it doesn't work anymore.
And that's the key of being able to resolve your childhood trauma, is to, one, understand that you did experience trauma, which we all do at some level, shape, form, or fashion, some type of dysfunction, and understand how it affects you. So learning what your coping skills are, learning what your triggers are, and understanding that self-love is number one. Like, so at any point in time where you feel like you're being mistreated or feeling resentful towards someone because they hurt you and you don't feel like you have that voice, you have to build up that courage in that self-love to be able to express those things to your partner or whoever it is within your relationships, platonic or romantic and anything in between. So it's very important.
I remember my question. I want to know if your family is aware that you've written this book and how they feel about it, because I want to discuss that, because I have my notion of what they feel about it and their opinions potentially about it.
So they do know. When I deployed to Iraq in 2017, when you're by yourself for a long period of time, it gives you the resource you need to start the process.
And clarity.
So out of respect, my mother, I haven't really spoken to my parents in my adult life. But out of respect for my mother, I called her on WhatsApp and I said, hey, I'm writing this book. I'm not going into detail because I'm in the combat zone. I really want to focus. I don't want to get too emotional. I'm just letting you know I'm writing a book about my childhood. And she immediately got quiet and said she couldn't breathe. So if you are reacting that way, that lets me know that you know what happened was wrong. Now, she didn't abuse me, but in writing the book and actually looking at everything on paper and looking at the timeline, it's like, but you enabled it. So you're at fault too. And she didn't want that to come out. She was like, what are people going to think about me? So even though we talked maybe every 3 months, she may text. When the book was actually published in October, right before social media started in July of last year, she stopped talking to me. Like my 31st birthday was Sunday, I did not get a phone call.
Happy belated birthday.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you. But I didn't expect it either. So my thought process was, I don't talk to most of my family. I wasn't raised around my family. My parents kept me away from them. So it wasn't until I got to college when I got a car and I started going around trying to meet family, getting close. So we were never really that close anyway. And there, you always have a few that you're not really close to for reasons. So it's like, if I don't already talk to you anyway, what's going to happen if you're mad at me? You're just not going to talk to me back. Well, nothing really changes. But at least it's where I can get healing. So I do have some that were very supportive. And they was like, oh, we can only imagine, because people know my dad. And they're like, oh, we can only imagine. I've seen your dad, fight people. I've seen your dad beat your mother. So I already know this is true. And then you have the people who want to protect him, because apparently you're supposed to protect the abusers in your family, which I don't understand to this day. Well, yeah, I know your dad beat your mom, but I don't care. Nothing in your book is true. Oh, you bought it and read it? Like, how do you know? You lived in my house? So I immediately get that from some family members, but most of them have been supportive.
Okay.
But it's like the weird thing no one wants to talk about in the group.
Okay. So I asked that, I asked that because I wrote a book about being a special needs mom, right? But I wrote 2 books about that. And then my 3rd book that I've been working on, it's going to entail my adoption story and finding my birth mother, okay? So some of my family is very supportive with that. Other parts of my family aren't. So they have been a part of my thinking in the back of my head of, oh shit, what do I incorporate and how are they going to feel? And my upbringing is different, because I would say I felt love, maybe not in the way that I felt I should have received it, right? So we're different in that. However, I had so much emotional trauma just from not having my needs met, as far as I'm concerned, that I'm a little traumatized just figuring out how I want to put the book out and what I want to say. So that's why I wanted to know how they felt about it, because the response that I got from 2 primary members of my family when I found my birth mother, one doesn't speak to me. One of my siblings doesn't speak to me anymore. I don't speak to him. He had an adverse response to that on my mother's behalf. And then my mother doesn't ever really want to speak about it. So she's not shutting me out, but I understand that's the best she can do. She doesn't want to, she'll hear about the basic, are you going to see this person? But she doesn't want to hear nothing else. And so I have to be conscious of everybody else's feelings all the time, and it's draining. And so I see from your standpoint, hey, I wasn't connected to them anyway. You had to get to a point where you said to yourself, all right, my healing is more important, so I'm just going to do this.
That's exactly what it is.
And I'm almost there. I mean, I'm like 90%. I got 10% more to go before I just say, yeah. And I just start saying whatever. But I have that closer relationship right now, right? Where I go home and visit. So I'm thinking, once they read this, how will I be treated, right? But I'm coming to grips with my own self-awareness with that, and how long I'm going to really care. I think so too.
You're going to be treated like Harper on The Best Man.
I mean, it is.
You understand what I'm saying?
Okay. I think I had to realize that when my life is in jeopardy, nothing else matters. So we got to the point that I was suicidal. No one knew. I didn't broadcast it. I didn't want anyone to know. I was prideful. And honestly, if you're suicidal and you tell someone, their first response is going to be to say, no, don't do it.
It's not that bad.
It's not that bad. And then they want to start comparing traumas. Right. I was like, I don't want to hear it,
I got divorced last year, and it was not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
So I was just like, once I got over it, it took years, but once I finally decided to live for me, I was like, I can't do anything that's going to take me back there. So if this is going to be my healing for me, I have to do it for myself. And that's why I gave my mom the heads up out of respect. I'm still writing it, but at least you know it's coming out, so you're not being blindsided.
I gave my parents a call out of respect when the week I was going to find my birth mother. The week I was going to see her the first time. Okay, so this was 2 years ago. And I called them, and I was nervous as hell. I mean, I was sweating bullets, scared, but I think I was having a traumatic reaction already of the backlash. And it made me afraid. It made me afraid to call and how they'd feel. Am I being, I feel guilty, right? Like I'm turning my back
right? On my parent, I turned into a child.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where I'm like, I'm doing something against my
back
parents.
in that trauma again.
Yeah. And so when I called, I felt good after the call knowing I have done what I feel is respectful and that's for me. It ain't for you. But I empathize with that greatly.
So we definitely touched on the actual book. Can you give our couch family, like, where can they find this book? I'm going to actually order a couple copies myself.
But I'm going to have to be in a good mental place when I read it, or it's going to take me
out. I want a couple copies, and we're going to purchase a couple of them, and we're going to have a contest on the platform, and we're going to actually ship those out to some deserving family members to read up on trauma and childhood trauma. So look out for that, you guys, but I'm definitely going to purchase. So tell our family where they can get it for themselves.
Oh, I got a headache. I'm straight.
You can purchase They Told Me Love My Abuser at Amazon. You can also get it from my website at www.authorbrilinette.com. If you get it from me personally, then I can also sign it.
We got to post the website after the show.
Yes, absolutely. We're going to post that. And where can they find you on social media? You know, we like to plug all those things out there.
So Instagram and Facebook, it is author Bri Lynette. Twitter is Bri Lynette 1, but I'm still working on that Twitter thing, so I'm not as responsive on Twitter. But Facebook and Instagram, author Bri Lynette.
Are you single?
Yes.
She smells good. She smells good. Listen, let me tell y'all something. When she came in here, I said, is that Damion? Is that her? The Damion either had a woman on him. Boy, she smells good. I've been holding that in for 3 years.
Hey,
you smell good.
Thank you.
You guys should be jealous right now.
She smell good.
Sorry, not sorry.
I said, okay. What she got on? Honey. So you live in Charlotte?
I do. Well, kind of. I live in Mount Holly. Close enough.
Okay. So do you feel like you have a good support system here now?
I do. I have some amazing friends.
Okay.
I do. And really, families that you make it. So you have mentors. You have people that are in your corner. People that helped me with the book when I wanted to quit. It has helped me keep going. So I have that support system.
After you've written your book and your story, how does it feel for you to share that with other people who may benefit from reading it in their own lives?
It's amazing because I didn't realize how many people actually experienced it.
You don't till you put it out.
You feel like you're alone in the world, and you start saying something, and it's like, oh, you too? But everyone wants to make it feel like, oh, there's nothing wrong with me, I'm normal. And I'm just like, are you sure? Have you really looked into, like, normal is subjective? Like, are you sure you're not hurting from something? Because I see you being triggered, and I know I went through it. So how can we get through this?
Right, exactly.
But honestly, I feel like I just have... It's just been a weight off my shoulders because it gets weird when you do start dating, and then after a while, people start to meet your parents, and you have to have that awkward conversation.
Right.
So now it's like, okay, guys, before anyone else asks me anything, I'm just gonna put everything on the table.
Don't you think it's uncomfortable how it has to feel awkward? Why at this point in our lives do any of those conversations have to feel awkward? Why can't we just accept that people are different?
Right.
And no one you date is you. And so everyone's experience is different.
If it's new to you and you came to that revelation and you started on this particular journey, of course it's still kind of uncomfortable for you until you kind of put it out there.
What I mean is it's not awkward for me.
Not for her, it's
awkward for other people. Yes. And I'm like, I'm the one who experienced it. Why do you feel weird?
But that's what I mean. I think it's also... I'm talking about judging people. That is a form of judgment, okay? Yeah. So when you start dating her and you care for her, and then at some point,
dang!
Everybody in here smells good, so I feel the pheromones and everything. Testosterone, everything is linking together. But you see what I'm saying? Yeah. If you start dating and you care for her, you care for him, and at this point, hey, so I was wondering what I'm gonna, whatever, family, whatever, and you say, hey, I don't have a close relationship with my parents. I really prefer to stay in my own lane. And if we're going to move forward, you have to understand this about me. Do you feel that that's awkward? Or do you say, I care for her, she's intelligent enough to gauge her own family, and I understand where she is with this, and that's the end?
I mean, for me, I can't speak for all guys, but for me, everybody has their own individual stories. I could have grew up in foster care and never knew my parents. So those types of conversations... If that's a part of my life, if that's my journey, that's my truth. You can take it. Take it how you want to.
The problem is, and this includes family. I'm just going to put it out there so all of us can hear this.
We throw family out all the time on this show.
People, including people I've dated, they want to fix me. Like there's something wrong with me. Like, understand that I made a choice for a reason.
I did what was
neck.
You see me?
I did what was best for me. And so people I've dated and the family members who I know are watching, so this is a PSA.
Mine too.
The name of the book, everyone's like, why is it called They Told Me to Love My Abuser? Because every time I finally opened up, the response is, well, it's still your dad.
Look, okay.
This is going to be the only dad you have.
Let me let you finish.
And I'm just like, it might be, but that doesn't mean we have to have this type of relationship.
Right.
Like, don't try to force me to be in a presence all the time.
Right.
Respect my boundary. I do not want to be, he's still abusive. I don't want to be abused. So I decide I want to stay in my own space. If that means we never talk again, yeah, it's sad. But I'm happier on this side of the railroad tracks where I'm not being abused physically and emotionally. Like, and unless you've actually been through it, you know, people start comparing traumas. Well, I never knew my dad. I understand you're hurt. That's not the same thing as living in the house and your dad abusing you. It's not the same thing as your dad threatening to set you on fire. Like, I don't want that in my life.
Right. Absolutely.
First of all, I'm commend myself for not interrupting you. I'm working on that. Thank you for sharing that. I want to say something about what you said. I empathize with that, and it's a PSA to all our viewers. We are always talking about boundaries and how we don't give a damn if it's your if it's your mama, your brother, your sister, your boyfriend, your husband, whatever. You have to take care of yourself first, and you put their ass on a shelf, and you deal with yourself forever. If you're ready to take them down, then you take them down. If you're not, then you keep them on the shelf.
Absolutely.
As I said, I have a brother who cut off all contact with me and when I found my birth mother, but he's been toxic my whole life. Everyone knows. People we grew up with know. Everyone knows. This is just a dysfunctional known thing, right? But I get more irate with the friends and people in my life when they start to fix their mouths to say, well, why don't you? No. If I don't want to be in a toxic relationship with anyone in my life, I don't want that to be promoted by someone who claims to care for me. Just keep that to yourself and just listen. Or else I will not speak to you about it again. But I get livid when people suggest that because it puts me in a place of mental turmoil. And everybody wants, oh, that's your brother, that's your brother. Listen, the devil comes in all forms.
Hello.
Listen.
And
I'm serious.
I don't talk to my brother either. I can't. It's been years. Okay. And we took the abuse differently. So he took it as, I just want to be my dad's best friend. I'm going to do whatever my dad says. He want to abuse me. Never worked. I caught on to that a long time ago. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get beat whether I do something right. I made straight A's. I still got beat. So I'm just like, I'm just going to do whatever. And he started becoming more abusive. He started cussing me out, threatening me. I was like, you know what? You're just like your father. So I can't deal with
your brother.
My brother. So we don't have a relationship, but I could say the people that really like to test your boundaries is always going to be family. And you can go to a family reunion. They know you haven't
because they depend on you to take it.
They know you haven't talked to your brother. How's your brother doing? I don't know. Maybe
to trigger
ask him. They trigger you on purpose, and then the story is turned, and the rhetoric is, why are you so angry? Why are you always so aggressive? And I'm like, I came in smiling, and then you said something you knew was going to make me angry.
I feel family looks for an audience. They're looking for an audience,
or that they're not busy enough in their lives that
they look for an audience. That's a whole nother. We're gonna come back for that show. We're gonna come back for family boundaries. Is that our new theme music?
No, that's Family Feud.
Who knows that right off hand?
What you mean?
Okay,
Who don't know
6:15.
Who don't know Family Feud?
I haven't seen it in a long time. How old are you?
I'm old enough.
You're an old man. What are you watching when you get off work? Jeopardy.
Ray Combs.
Watching Jeopardy.
Yeah.
The Price
Alex.
is Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I do.
I do want to say something though. Because in knowing the topic of the book, I know it can scare people to not want to read it. So I wrote it, I was very strategic about how I wrote it. So it starts off with me in therapy, and you get the flashback to childhood as a therapist asking me questions about my current
Take you through your session.
Taking me through the sessions. I actually have flashbacks so you can physically see what happened in childhood and how it manifests itself into adulthood. Because some people literally don't know. And then some parents really don't know their reason. That's how they grew up.
Exactly.
Especially emotional.
Because black parents didn't go to therapy.
Generational trauma is just passed down.
So they don't know. And so the goal is that people can see this and be like, you know what? If I keep doing this to my child might be suicidal one day. If I do this, they may struggle in relationships as they grow up. So I'm hoping they'll see that. And then likewise, if there is a child who's going through this, I want them to see there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Absolutely.
Like, everything might go wrong, but what is a silver lining that you can find to help you hold on?
Right.
Well, the image of the book almost made me cry. Just look at it.
Yeah,
I saw the teardrop.
Some people know that's actually me. I think I was 8. I have a great illustrator.
Wow,
That's me.
That's awesome.
It broke me
Y'all
down.
make sure y'all check out the book. Definitely check out the book. Get it. I'm getting several copies, and somebody's gonna get a copy of it too. One of our loyal fans. We're gonna do something. We're gonna do some trivia or something like that. To make sure that you watch this live show, we're gonna ask some questions, and whoever get it right, maybe get a free signed copy book from Miss Bri over here.
I would encourage anybody watching who knows good and damn well that they've been through some form of childhood abuse or neglect to reach out to a therapist. And if you need help reaching out to a therapist in your area, you should DM us and we will assist you with that process, because there's a lot of healing that needs to take place in relationships. And like you, when I see my red flags from the other person, I steer clear now because I know better now.
Yeah,
I know better. And I know this, my first sign is somebody who is not willing at all to ever experience therapy. And I ask that question in random conversation. Yeah, that's a deal breaker for me. If you're never going to be interested in the idea of therapy, then we don't need to date.
Yeah. If I'm
Or
a
spend
therapist
quality
and you
time.
don't want to go therapy, no.
That makes sense.
No. That's just one of those things. Hey, this is my profession.
It's one of those things.
It is what it is. But alright guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. This is definitely awesome. We definitely appreciate Miss Bri Lynette for showing up today, showing out and giving us some great insight on this wonderful book.
Is it your whole first name?
No.
First and middle?
Part of my first.
I'm
And my
put
middle.
my first and middle together. That shit gonna sound crazy.
Yeah, I don't put my last name on things.
Okay, I know that's right.
Dang.
Hey, you don't have to. Hey. All right, that's a whole nother show. I was about to say something to offend somebody.
We about to go.
I was about to be offensive to my family. Go ahead. I don't know what I was saying. My bad.
Alright, you guys. So, what we got coming up tomorrow morning?
I ain't looking at this one.
Is it 7:45?
Tomorrow, you better know what your partner is doing. At 7:45 a.m., I'm on Fox 46 Charlotte for Getting Results for Your Mental Health, and we are discussing the continued conversation of love languages with our friend Jason Harper. Shout out to Jason Harper. Damion says the same thing every month.
What's up, Jason? Get at us.
So you can catch us live on the live feed on the intranet at Fox 46 Charlotte /live at 7:45 a.m. Eastern Time.
Yeah. There's some things coming up next weekend, next Sunday.
Something else.
Black Fathers Rock. We got a lovely couple that got the tickets. 2 free tickets to Black Fathers Rock. What is it, next Sunday?
Good job, Dave.
Yeah, for sure. So shout out to Ryan Jarrell for coming on the show last week. Good look on that.
I will also be a hostess at that event.
Oh, yeah.
I found out I will have a new duty. I will be holding the awards. Walking
The
down
Vanna
stage.
White of the Black Fathers Rock.
Yeah, I gotta get myself all the way together.
Oh, Lord.
And I gotta put on something that sucks in some stuff in the right places. So I told Ryan now that I got a different position, I have to get stuff under control.
Right.
So, stuff meaning me.
All
So
right.
there's that. And then my book on Amazon as well, My Gift to You by Jacqueline Curry. It's the second edition, is the new book. Both of them are on Amazon, so I just want to let everybody know.
All right, and as always, make sure y'all checking out couch704.com, social media platforms on IG, Facebook, of course, Twitter, Snapchat, couch704.com. If you got any questions, definitely hit us up. Speaking engagements, sponsors, all those things, go to the website, couch704.com as always. Next week, we got another exciting show.
Can't wait.
Yeah, we do it every week. This is how we do it over here at the couch. Where your mental
So you
health
gonna come
matters.
back?
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
We gonna keep this thing
We're
going.
gonna come back and talk about family boundaries.
All right, you guys. We're gonna check y'all next week. From myself, Dame Dash, to my co-host over here, Juicy J.
Thank you.
And our special guest, Miss Bri Lynette. We thank y'all for watching. We're gonna check y'all next week. All right.
If you have a porn name for Bri Lynette, please put it below.
Oh, wait.
Everybody has a
Everybody
porn.
gets a porn name on this show.
Yes,
So if you have
that's
a
what we
porn
do.
name suggestion
Yes.
for Miss Bri Lynette, I think Bri Lynette is a good
It is.
porn
That's actually
name.
my name.
I know, but it's a good porn name.
No.
I'm saved and sanctified over here. I just want to throw that out there.
Well, I'm a Christian, but I still need a porn name.
Hey, Christians get it in
that's
too.
That's why we have kids.
Those are the most
Moving right along.
ones.
I'm not going to say that. That's the thoughts of Damion Harmon and that are...
Your mental